Morning. Let me introduce myself. This is Dr. Eli Engel, and let me give you a skeleton resume. I'm a practicing physician, primary care. I have an MD from what is now the State University of New York at Buffalo, a PhD in physiology from the University of California at Los Angeles. I have an appointment in the biomathematics department of the medical school of the University of California and have been teaching for quite a while, both at the medical school and more recently in the undergraduate part. I do basic research at the university. My name is on a moderate number of scientific papers, and I also part-time am the chief investigating officer at a small company that does research in drugs. I'll be talking about a lot of things, often medicine, often science, or anything else that really I'm interested in. And in addition to be interested in it, I would like it to be timely. I'd like it to be either important or interesting. I'd like to start today with an article which was in the New York Times under the national section, and it was really pretty inspiring. It was about the students from Teach for America that have been going to a poverty-stricken in the area of the Mississippi Delta and teaching, and a fair number of them settling in the area after they went through their teaching period. Many of the students continued in teaching. Many went into a number of other different endeavors, and they all participated in the life of the community, even though this was a terribly poverty-stricken area that had been declining for a long time. They put a great deal of life back into it and were dedicated teachers. Over the years, I've had a fair number of Teach for America students in my class, probably an inordinately high, and they vary a great deal, but one thing that seems to be present in all of them is they had this interesting mix of idealism, realism, and creativity, which made them special people, the kind of people that you'd expect to succeed in anything they did. And their mission in the Delta area was both inspired, motivated by excellent reasons, and really pretty successful. And this experience there gave me the concern, well, is everything we're trying to do now about education correct? Is all this testing, is all this setting of standards really helpful? Or is it something that is just simply going to impose a deadening uniformity on education and drive it backwards? Adding to this approach and thought that this inspires is the constant referral to Finland as probably the best or close to the best education system in the world. On international tests, they do very well, especially in science areas. One thing that is interesting about it is that Finland has a fair number of migrants who in just about any other European city would be doing very poorly. But in Finland, they do just about as well as the original natives. So we know that they're being reached, that they're being individually recognized, and that they've really been taught. The complex of what's going on in Finland is, of course, multiple. We have, for one thing, the fact that teaching is considered a very high prestige occupation. About the best 10% of all the students go into teaching, and the pay is rather high. Frankly, you get what you pay for, and you get what you respect. And the bar in Finland is very high and very competitive, and something seems to happen that's working. The performance is better. It's very high in areas of science and other technical areas. If you look at Sweden, of course, oh darn. If you look at Finland, the history of that is interesting and may contribute. Finland is a country that should really have a lot of self-respect. It went through the wars before and during the Second World War, and the Finns fought and they held off forces much superior to their own, and they came through it with a good deal of self-respect. The country has also gone from agriculture to modern times, and it has had a great emphasis recently on science. It also did not go through the rust phase of industrialism, so it doesn't have a lot of old types of manufacture to simply hold back and to keep the country trapped in methods that don't work at all. All education is pretty free. It's a standard state of the Scandinavian countries, and they have equal, very strong areas for classical university education and for polytechnic education, which is at a very high level. It's not like what we would call vocational education, it's simply education where science and engineering is heavily emphasized. And the combination really seems to work. The two examples that I've discussed today would tend to give the impression that the most important thing in education is, number one, that the teachers are highly selected, that they're highly respected, and that they pretty much are allowed to run their own show, which is what happens in Finland. The teachers get together, they decide what should be done, they have this complete interaction with other teachers and the students, and incidentally, they do something which I love, and don't put a heavy emphasis on homework. This emphasizing homework is something that, as far as I can see, has never been proven as being useful. And from what I see as a teacher, it's the wrong way to go. This long time spent memorization and responding to examinations is really not worth it. What is worth it is students being inspired and learning how to do things rather than just memorize. See you next time.